heat pump is. And I tried explaining it one time, and it was really hard. You know, it's basically a thing that hangs on the wall and blows cold air or hot air into your, it's what it is, right? So we make an animated video, and it just kind of makes that whole concept a heck of a lot easier to understand. And, you know, there's a send a message button right there so that people can just easily take, you know, action on it. So pretty effective. Let me just, all right, go to the next slide here. So, you know, obviously creating ads that work, absolutely, but the copy is really what's important with a lot of the ads, right? So copy needs to be engaging. It needs to have, you know, you should use an emoji or two, sort of like break up. You're trying to get the person to stop their thumb. That's ultimately what you're doing. Anytime you're posting something as a business, you need to get them to stop what they're doing and pay attention to you. So engage them, ask them a question, call out your particular audience. Hey, homeowners in Manchester. Hey, right? So you can very easily capture someone's attention by speaking to them directly. We like to incorporate humor into ads. That works very well. That's a time-honored, you know, philosophies. Make people laugh. Have a contest, you know, throw a little bit of a party. It's fun. It's social media. It's supposed to be a good time. Always include a call to action. So give people something to do after seeing your ad. And, you know, specifically when you're using photos and when you're doing copy, it's always a good idea to show people what it used to look like, or what you used to do, or what they used to do, or what their life used to be like, and then show them what it could be like. If only they send you a message or send you a lead or visit your website, whatever the case may be. So here's a few examples of ads that have worked particularly well. On the left-hand side, this is a product. This is a potty training product. It's essentially an apparatus that goes onto the toilet that a child can put on themselves, and it prevents them from falling in, therefore making it much easier for parents to potty train their kids, less embarrassing for the kid, and there's no mess, right? So what we're doing is we're kind of making it funny, and we're making you go, oh, that's funny, that's a baby falling in a toilet, you know. So, I mean, maybe it's not that funny, but it's kind of funny.
At least.
It worked, right? It's working. In the middle here, we have a local client that we're working with. These are renovation specialists, and they're just showing, hey, look, this is how dingy this outside of this house was ahead of time, or before we got to it. And now look at what it looks like. And what's particularly effective about these types of ads is that you have multiple photos. So it compels the user to click the photo and scroll through it. And when Facebook sees that that is happening, it automatically will show your ad to more people because it's seen as engaging content by Facebook, because people are taking an action. They're flipping through. So that's one of the reasons that we use a lot of ads with multiple photos. On the right-hand side here, you're seeing a contest that we ran. We run this every year for the takeout guys. And it works particularly well because it's fun. You're giving something away. You're basically giving people an opportunity to tag a friend who has a kid who might like this little orange Lamborghini for Christmas, right? It's not a charity thing. It's really just more like, hey, if you've got a friend that has a kid that would like a little orange car, tag that person, and they get a ton of engagement from this. It works quite well.
The goal there for that one was probably to increase engagement. So it was the right strategy to kind of implement for that goal.
Right. We just want people to see takeout guys. And we just want people to associate takeout guys with something fun and something where they're giving back to the community. We also think it's kind of fun that they're a food delivery service and they just happen to be giving away a really cool car. So we were able to do really fun stuff with that, where we were like, oh, this kid's going to go around and he's going to deliver food in this car, right? So it worked out. It was fun. It got him a lot of eyeballs, that's for sure. On the left hand, again, we're talking about copy, right? So on the left side here, we've got a specific offer, exactly what you're going to get. We're using a photo that evokes a reaction, like, whoa, do we have a hurricane coming? Is there a snowstorm coming? No, not really. But if there were, you would definitely want one of these standby generators, and they're only $99 a month, right? So that's what we're going for here. In the middle, this is a contest that we ran for Omaggio in Salem. and it's a Mother's Day contest. Post a picture of you and your mom. On the right, post a summer photo, right? Again, this is top notch and it's all about having fun. So just get people involved, get people. I didn't even notice that that's my kids in that picture in the bottom right corner, and me and my wife. So just get people involved, have a good time with your ads, get them commenting and talking to one another. It will help you get your name out in front of people and it will help you sell more of your product. Okay, video. We find video to be an incredibly effective way to promote whatever it is that you're doing. So it could be a professionally shot video, or it could be just a candid video where you're walking people through, whatever is happening at your office on that particular day. It's either one is really is really good. Video tends to be very effective for Facebook because Facebook is always in this battle with YouTube, wanting to take as much of YouTube's share of the action as possible. So they do give preferential treatment to video. And there happen to be people on this call who do a really, really good job of making video as well. So, William, we definitely suggest that you do as much video as possible. So on the left-hand side, she is just so happy that this Birdies software has made her life so much easier with running her charity golf event, right? So she has that reaction. Again, to Ricky Southers, because he does such a good job with this, he's walking you through a project that they recently did, and he is demonstrating to you, the potential consumer, that he knows what he is talking about. And at the end of the day, the thing we want to know the most when we invite somebody into our house to fix our roof or to put an addition on our house is we want to know that they know what they're talking about, and that they're going to be polite and that they're not going to, scare our children, right? That's what I want to know anyways. And then on the right, this is Jennifer talking to you all about how the Super Potty Trainer absolutely changed her life because it made it so much easier to potty train her daughter. Anything to add to that, Kate? I don't want to, not bring you in on this because I know that you're a video guru.
Yeah, I will say that, Ricky does do a really great job, and we have other clients who we encourage to do some similar kind of walk through a job site, walk through, on location. Of course, it doesn't work for every single business, but for businesses like this, it definitely works. And our clients who do it are getting results for it. So definitely humanizes your business and showcases who you are.
Yep. Anytime you can give personality to your business and make people feel a little bit more connected to you, you're gonna do better. Okay, more video, right? We have a client called Tidy Hook, right? And so this is a product we do a lot with e-commerce, and I think that video works particularly well with e-commerce, especially when you have to demonstrate something. So this is the Tidy Hook, right? This is essentially a plastic hook that hangs on the passenger's seat, and it makes it easy for everybody to dump their trash in, right? Kids included, just makes it easier to have a clean car. And so you describe that to people and they go, well, wait a minute, I don't understand it. So video is a great way where we can actually just show how it works, show why it's easier for the kids to help you keep your car clean, and it just makes everybody's life a lot easier. Coming back over here to animation, again with heat pumps. This is another animated video. It's not a whiteboard animation. This is actually an animated video that we did for LaPlante Electric, where again, we're essentially staging an adult explaining to a 5-year-old what a heat pump is. And quite frankly, if you can explain your offer to a 5-year-old, then you're on the right track because you got to simplify what you do for the most part, because people, for the most part, learn at like a 2nd grade level. It's just something that it's a reality. Okay. So here's the mistakes that we see people make quite a bit. Because there's a lot of kind of like myths and things that people think they know and so on and so forth. And we see all of it. And we want to kind of share with you guys what those things are, and hopefully dispel some myths that perhaps you've heard, and help you live a more successful social media life for your business. Number 1, advertising without a plan or a strategy. So something we often find with especially local companies is that, I start a business, I create a Facebook page, I don't have a lot of, time to post or anything, and I don't have a lot of followers, but I just put something up there. And if it doesn't work, I assume that social media doesn't work for my business. And that is not the case. That is a huge mistake, right? So don't just throw something on your page and put your phone number and then wonder why nobody is calling you. Nobody sees it, first of all. Second of all, this doesn't even give me any reason to call you. Like, I'm not going to call somebody to do my roof just because they say they're going to brighten my day. There's no benefit to me whatsoever. And there's also no shortage of people that can put a roof on. Okay. So you got to have a little bit more of a strategy.
You also need to be careful and know what you're posting, because there's a lot of regulations out there, and this could actually be a OSHA violation on the roof.
Yeah, right. Those guys are supposed to be up there. They're supposed to be like in harnesses or something, right? So don't implicate yourself like in your social media. It's going to be hard to prove to the workers' comp. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so but yes, absolutely. Don't post without a strategy. Try to have at least some objective and then some way to execute to achieve that objective. And yes, don't do illegal things and advertise it. Then there's this other thing where people just don't join social media at all, because they're afraid that they're going to get negative comments, or they think that social media is just this place where people go air their grievances. Look, the conversation happening on social media is going to happen with or without your business, but that's where your customers are. So even if social media, Facebook and Instagram even if they're not great places where you can like get leads, you really should still be there so that when a potential customer is researching your business, your social media helps to support why they should do business with you. They want to see that you're in business. They want to see that you're in your community. They want to see that you're human. So at least have some profiles up there and have some sort of a strategy to post on some regular basis. Could be once every other week. It doesn't really matter that much, as long as people can see, okay, they're in business, they're doing good things, they're real people. But then there's the other side where, you really do have an opportunity to generate business using social. And that's where we just cringe. We're like, oh, why aren't you doing this? But then there's the ugly cousin of this. And it's when you join too many platforms and you forget about them, right? So you go, I'm going to join. We got to be doing Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vine. We got to be doing TikTok. We got to be doing Snapchat. We got to be doing all these. We got to be everywhere, because if we're not, we're nobody. And that's not true at all. First of all, Facebook has lost some users, but not enough to negatively affect anybody here. They still have like 2 billion people on the platform. So even if they lose 100 million, that'll be all over the news, but it doesn't affect us as business owners. There's enough people using Facebook where we can all get a lot of customers. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you're going after a younger audience, then Instagram is probably a really important place to be as well. But definitely don't join something and then just abandon it. It's like we've all seen when people start writing a blog on their website and you see they wrote 5 blog posts in January of 2017, because it was their New Year's resolution. And then they never went back to it, or the person that was charged with writing the blog like got fired or quit or something. And then so nobody ever goes. And as a potential customer, you go, are these people even in business anymore? Like, I don't even know what's going on with them. So don't let that happen with your social media. If you're going to get on platforms, pick a few that make the most amount of sense for your business. And then have a strategy for how you actually want to use those and what kind of content you want to share. Kind of lay it out ahead of time.
I have a simple rule for that. Just pick something, do it, and do it well. Once you're comfortable on a certain platform, maybe you're on 1 or 2, do them well. And if you can expand out, then definitely do it. But you really need to just make sure that you have all the time and the resources, but just whatever you do, do it well.
Yeah. Don't get analysis paralysis. And actually that's kind of like what we're talking about here, right? So there's a lot of people that never get started because they assume that everything has to be perfect. The pictures have to be perfect. You can't have anything candid. It has to be just a certain way. Or listen, if you're going to do social media, you got to do 17 different platforms, and we can't do 17 platforms. So we're not going to do any. try not to allow that, you know, the breadth of how big social media is. Try not the dogs. Try not to let that deter you from just doing something. I'm not saying that you should just like kind of post something and then never think about it again, but you know, don't let this whole idea of perfection get in the way of doing anything at all. There's that saying like perfection is the enemy of progress. And that is very, very true when it comes to social media. If you can't plan out the next 6 months worth of content, just plan out the next week. And that's fine, but you know, don't let it hold you back. Okay. So going back to earlier when we were talking about online review, well, you know, why people don't get on to social media. Sometimes it's because of online reviews and the fact that they're afraid to get negative feedback. This really comes into play significantly. Kate, is your house at a place where you can speak a little bit to this right now?
I am not muted, so I
Okay,
hope so.
okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, so whether if someone's reviewing you online, whether it's good or bad, you need to respond. Sometimes a company might be nervous that it's going to open up a can of worms to actually be out there and responding. But, you know, if a customer took time to actually write a review, whether it's good or bad, it's good to acknowledge it. Potential customers really appreciate to see that you're actually listening and that you care. And, you know, more people want to do business with a company who responds. So we have some general rules. Respond and respond quickly. Timing really is everything. Acknowledge your reviewers by name, show gratitude, encourage reviewers to advocate for you, and, you know, always include a sign off. The biggest thing is to be genuine. Whatever, sorry.
Yes,
So,
definitely
yes,
be genuine.
yes, be genuine as possible. And, you know, if it's been a day or two and you realize that you haven't responded to someone, then, you know, just follow up and get your response out there. It's always good to respond and thank people.
And, you know, quite frankly, I think the couple big things when it comes to reviews is that, and this is probably for a different webinar, but you really should have some type of a strategy in place to garner as many positive reviews as you can possibly get. So if you get that one troll, right, that wants to just talk about your business and just be mean in social media because they have nothing better to do, or because they have a legitimate gripe that, you know, where you did underperform, you know, it should not be the end of the world for you. You should have enough good ones to overshadow that one bad one. And then if you do have to respond, definitely avoid the tendency to be combative. If somebody's coming after you, I guarantee you they have more stamina than you, and they probably have more friends. So if you come back at them and you're not nice, or you try to throw them under the bus back, it's probably not going to go well. And they're going to sick their friends on you too. So best thing is to remain pretty unbiased, very apologetic. Let's take this offline. The other piece is, if you have to, or if you can, put a personal email address in there, or put a phone number in there to really demonstrate to other people that you're very, very serious about making that person's experience right. And by the way, we've had some clients that have said, well, we just shut comments off. We don't even let people comment on our stuff. We just put it out there. And I'm here to tell you that shutting comments off is the worst
Frustrating.
It's the worst thing you can do. I mean, number one, it's frustrating, but number two, one of the things that makes an ad effective is the fact that it has social proof. It has positive comments below it. What do? We see the ad, or we see the product, and then what do we do next? We read the comments. We read what other people are saying about it. So if you take away people's ability to be positive about you, then you're really kind of robbing yourself of a great opportunity. So don't just eliminate comments. Just be ready to handle bad ones if they happen. We don't typically advise that people delete comments from people, but if you do, make sure you ban them from your page, because they will come back and comment again and make your life miserable. So there's a way to do that. We can show you how to do it if you want to. It's not usually the way to go about it, by the way, but if you have to.
So Brad, can I stop you for one moment?
Please.
because we have one question. Well, also, I want to share something. When you were just saying the person who's slamming you probably has more friends than you, my son's laughing in the background. He's like, did he just say that he has more friends than you? I was like,
People that
yeah.
complain online, people that complain online, and I'm pretty sure we can all attest to this,
Yeah.
have massive amounts of mobility. I mean, they can rally their friends so fast and they will just rip you apart and all. And the problem with it is that it can be business ending.
Yeah.
It can be very, very, very troublesome,
Yeah.
especially if they start taking to things like Google, because now they can
Right.
actually write a review that you can't get rid of. So
Yeah, so true. So if they've got the motivation, it's a bad sign in the first place.
Yeah.
But Molly Lunn Owen had asked a question: what if your ad generates a lot of negative or off-topic back and forth comments?
Mhm.
I know a goal is to inspire conversation, but should we be responding or participating in these conversations as a brand, or just hide the really offensive comments and let the rest play out?
That comes down to what you believe is good for your brand. So if somebody's being offensive or if somebody's swearing, then, you know, at that point, I really sort of feel like, and this is just me, but if somebody's starting to get offensive, then you get rid of it. I think you get rid of it. Because if you don't, then especially now, if you don't, you're basically complicit in their offensiveness, right? So you're basically saying as a business, no, we're cool with what they're saying, even though it's offensive. And that, like for me in my business, wouldn't be okay. At some point, I'm going to stand for something and go, listen, you can say whatever you want on your page, but you're not going to say it on mine. And you're definitely not going to say it on an ad that I'm paying for, like for sure. Right. So when somebody starts getting offensive like that, I'm taking them off. Now, if they start to just kind of go off on a thing and they're talking about things that are unrelated, like we have it happen with Super Potty Trainer a lot of times. Like, you know, people start talking about potty training and then they start talking about their family. Like, by the way, how is little Madison or whatever? That's totally fine. As a matter of fact, the more engagement that happens on a post, the better it is in Facebook's eyes. Facebook wants you and Instagram want you to stay on the platform as long as possible. And therefore, they make it very, very inexpensive for you to run ads if you're helping them keep people on the platform. So there's a balance. If people start getting too nasty, I think you get rid of them. But you know, if they're just having a conversation and having a good time, then yeah, by all means, let them talk. You could insert yourself in that conversation and say something fun like, yeah, maybe little Madison should try the Super Potty Trainer or something like that. But, you know, it's just cool that it's happening, you know, and if your ad is inciting that type of engagement, then like that's what you want. So, and I know that there's like a ton of questions going on up here, but I don't know if when I open those, it shows to everybody. And I also, you know, I can only focus on one thing at once. So I'm planning on reading all of them, but like, if there are other questions that need to be answered right now, then by all means, feel free to fire away. We have 18 more minutes and we have all afternoon, by the way, so we can stay on as long as we need to. Anything else that jumps out at you, Heather?
No, I think a lot of people that was the only like real directed question. That's why I stopped you. But a lot of other just comments are going on in the chat. So you're fine. You're not missing much.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Oh, did I skip anything? Hang on. How do I go back here? All right. So yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah. Okay. So look, Facebook is a for-profit organization and they've therefore made it very, very easy for anybody to give them their money. So easy. All you got to do is hit the boost button, right? And we're here to tell you that that's probably a waste of money for a few different reasons. First of all, there's 11 or 13 different objectives you can choose when you're running an ad. One of them is engagement. Like if I'm just trying to get likes and shares and comments. If you use the boost button, then you're automatically, for the most part, going to go to the engagement objectives. Because Facebook wants to give you those dopamine hits where it's like, look, all these people like and they're sharing and look, you should spend more and more and more, like it's some kind of slot machine, right? That's what an engagement ad does. And that's what a boost button does. The problem is you can't deposit likes, shares, and comments into the bank, right? So unless you're just trying to get a lot of social proof on a post so that you can then use it for another reason, which we employ that strategy quite often actually, but using the boost button is not the way to do it. there's much better advertising tools available in the ads manager, which is all we use. So the only time we really use the boost button is if the ads manager is broken for some reason, which does unfortunately happen every now and then. So number one, it's just, you're not taking advantage of the tools that are really available to you. Number two, you're usually using it and there's no strategy behind it. It's like, I think this is a good post. I'm gonna boost this for $10 or $20 or whatever the case is. And that's not strategy. That's just flying by the seat of your pants. And that is not scalable. You can't grow your business. I mean, maybe you can, but I don't think you can really grow a business that way. It does work. It does get you some likes and shares and comments. So it feels like it's working, but we don't recommend it. We want real strategy where we're driving toward a particular objective. All right. Yes. So earlier we talked about the fact that you could target all these different people, right? You could target anybody based on anything. The issue with that is that you only have a limited amount of money. So you don't want to target everybody. You really need to be careful of who you spend your money putting your ad in front of. So let's just say, for instance, you're a nonprofit. You're a nonprofit organization. So you could blanket the entire community, right, with your ad. But I would rather you spend that same amount of money just targeting people who are more likely to donate money, or more likely to be charitable, or more likely to care about your particular cause based on their prior web browsing activity or based on the pages they like. You can do all that stuff, but you can blow your budget right out of the water if you just try and target this massive audience. It's not a good way to go. It's like with, to use them as an example, Super Potty Trainer. I'm not just going to target the 230 million people on Facebook in the United States. I'm going to target parents with kids whose age is, 1 to 4 who are buying diapers on Target. Like that's your target audience. That's where I'm going with that. On something like the Tidy Hook, anybody with a car can buy that thing. So that's where you really just let Facebook do the job and find the people that are most likely to buy. So yeah, definitely don't blow your budget out of the water by targeting too many people. Number 8, don't, under any circumstances, and you'd think that this goes without saying, but it definitely doesn't, don't ever grab an image off of Google Images and use it in your Facebook post.
Ever.
Ever. First of all, there's way too many easy, free, or inexpensive ways to get images. And number 2, like the penalties are nasty. So don't do it. It's not fun. As a matter of fact, there's law firms out there who just specifically go after people that do this. And they've made a career out of that. They've made a career out of trolling people that just steal people's images. It's not nice. So always go to Shutterstock or Pixabay or Pexels or one of like 15 other sites. And also, if you grab an image off of Google Images and you like make it a little bigger, or you cut off a corner of it or something, it's not an original image. Don't use it. It's just, you get a real image. That can be a nasty one. And then there's all these myths, right? So I think the biggest mistake people make is that they buy into all these myths. So this myth of like, you need a certain number of likes on your page. You've got to shoot for 500 likes or 1,000 likes. Let me tell you something. Our clients have made millions of dollars on using social media, and very few of them even have over 1,000 likes on their page. It doesn't matter, because the primary way that you're going to want to use social media is through the ads manager. And the ads manager doesn't care how many people like your page. It's almost a vanity metric. It's almost just something where if you're just trying to demonstrate that your page is legit, sure, try to get likes on your page. But that's not an objective that's really worth going for in our opinion. Another myth is that like social media somehow increases your SEO value, like your search engine optimization. There's no evidence that that is true. There's only correlation evidence where it's like businesses that have a good social media presence also have good SEO presence, but that's because they pay attention to their digital marketing. And so they pay attention to both of those things. So of course they're going to have, positive numbers on both. But we've never seen anything that indicates that one causes the other to be better. You should post a certain number of times during the week. There's no good number. It's whatever whatever is right for your business. Facebook ads are cheap. Gary Vee said Facebook ads are cheap. Therefore, I feel like I should be running Facebook ads. Listen, Gary Vee said that back in 2013, and they were cheap until Gary Vee told everybody to go run Facebook ads. Then basic freshman year economics took over, and now Facebook ads are not cheap anymore. Instagram ads are not cheap. They're probably less expensive than other forms of advertising, and they're more targeted. But it's not like, it's not like they're cheap. You shouldn't expect to, have these massive returns on your investment right from the beginning using social media ads. It's just, make sure that you meet your expectations there. Everybody should be using Facebook ads. No, absolutely not. The other day we got locked out of our house because for some reason the lock broke. And you know where I didn't go to find a locksmith? Facebook, right? You know what I didn't do? Think of the ad that I saw on Facebook for the locksmith 6 months ago and who that was. No, you know what I did? I said, hey, Siri, find me a locksmith. And like, there's my name, there's my locksmith, right? I called him. So I think that depending on the business you're in, you should be using a mix of Google, Facebook, Instagram, and maybe some other things. But definitely don't just think that because you're in business, you should be using Facebook and Instagram ads. That's not the deal. How am I doing on time? 10 minutes. And then like another one, social media ads don't work for business to business. That's also not true. We can target people based on anything, including job title, the type of business they own, whether or not they read trade magazines, whether or not they visit certain trade websites, right? So social media ads absolutely work very well for business to business. And we have dozens of experience of the fact that that is true. So
you're still targeting the people.
Yeah, you're targeting people, and you're providing value to those people based on things that Facebook knows about them, right? So we find that they work quite well. So just try not to fall for all the myths. And then the last thing that is that people are often afraid to ask for help. They assume that if I don't know this stuff, then it's just too much for me to learn, but that's really not the case. There's plenty of people that can give you a hand with this. Obviously we can, right? But there's, I think that there's probably 10 agencies in the chamber, maybe even more, right? We can all help you. We happen to be particularly good at this particular function. So if you have questions about social media or social media ads, we're more than happy to help you, but this isn't a plug. It's just literally don't not do it because you're afraid to ask somebody for a hand or you're afraid to have a free consultation. We'll go into anybody's ads account or onto anybody's page and point out 10 things that you could do today that would probably make a difference for you. So don't hesitate to ask. And this is our conclusion. This is our conclusion slide. So obviously Facebook, social media, very, very valuable tool. You can post both organic and then you can also do paid. Sometimes you can only do organic. Like we have a couple of brands that we work with, for instance, Pure Relief Apothecary CBD brand. You can't pay to advertise. You have to only do organic because Facebook's not allowing you to advertise CBD at this point. But it's a heck of a brand. You need to have a strategy. You have to have a strategy if you're going to do this. Otherwise, you're going to waste all your money. You're going to waste all your time. You're going to squander opportunities. Get an objective. Figure out how you're going to execute on it and execute. And then, obviously use video, use a good mix of posts that have multiple images, use Messenger, lead gen ads, and try not to do any of those 10 things that we talked about. Avoid them. And that's it. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to fire away. Like I said, we have time, so we can stay on past the 1 o'clock, but I know some people probably need to jump off, but feel free to ask questions.
It looks like we have a question from Molly. The question is, what is a good budget to start with for an organization that's new to social marketing? And ultimately, what kind of budget do you need to get results here? That is a very good question.
It's a really good question. It depends a lot on the size of your market. So if you're a local company, right? If you're a local business and you're just trying to sort of increase the number of people who see you and you're trying to get a few leads here and there, but it's like you and maybe 2 or 3 other people, then I think you can start as low as 10, 15, 20 bucks a day. $300, $400 a month. We've been able to make massive, massive impact for clients at that price level. But if you're a national brand, then you're going to have a really hard time generating any, any tangible results on a budget like that, because, you're probably trying to reach tons of people. But the cool thing about social media, just as a general rule, is that you can start at whatever level you want. And no matter what the level is, you'll probably get some type of a result. You may not get a result that you want, you may not sell anything, but you'll probably learn a lot. You'll go, okay, well, I spent $400, $500 last month, and here's what I did. I got, all these people to ask this particular question, or I learned that my particular service is more appealing to people ages 45 to 54 than 25 to 34, right? Which maybe isn't something that you knew. So you can get all this data by spending even a tiny amount of money in social media ads. It's pretty cool. So that's an incredibly, I don't know how helpful that answer is. I wasn't trying to be evasive. The answer is there is really no good answer, but you have to start somewhere. And I think that for small businesses, you can easily get away with 10, 15 bucks a day. We help people manage budgets like that all the time. And, you can get results for it as well. A lot of the people that we showed you in this presentation either are still there, or that's where they started and they're getting, maybe 1, 2, 3 new contacts a day.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we have ones from David Morrow. Can you explain what a Facebook pixel is and how do you use it? I'm happy to take that one, give you a rest for a second. So Facebook pixel, in Facebook, there's an event manager, and in there you can create different pixels, which is basically just a piece of code from Facebook that you can insert onto your website, and it helps track activity. So when people it connects your website to your Facebook page. So if someone sees your Facebook ad, clicks on it, then goes to your site, that pixel is logging that data for you. So when you're looking at your Facebook, and you can say, oh, wow, that did generate visits, or that did do something.
Yeah. And it's like beyond that, it can do really, really, really cool things. For instance, like let's say you are that e-commerce brand, or you're a local company and you're really trying to understand who your perfect target market is. So we put a pixel on your website, and then we drive a ton of traffic to your website. And let's say we drive, 100,000 people to the website and 500 people buy your product. The pixel is tracking which of those people bought the product, and can therefore, and then we can tell Facebook, okay, take that data that my pixel gathered and find me more people like those original 500 that bought my product. So find me more people like the people that buy my stuff. And that is the essence of how social media advertising can absolutely blow your business up, because you can hone right in on the perfect set of traits that somebody has to have to become your perfect customer. So yeah, the pixel is like life-changing. So thank you, David, for that question. That's an awesome question. What other questions do we have? Okay. So if that's it, oh, hang on. I'm seeing comments here. I just want to make sure that
We got another one here, Brad. That's
okay.
What are stories, and should you use them?
Kate, I'm going to give you this one because this is not my forte. And
all right. So stories are on both Instagram and Facebook. They're very similar to I don't know if you're familiar with Snapchat, but basically Snapchat had this feature where you can post something, it's only live for 24 hours. So Facebook and Instagram kind of replicated that because Snapchat was so widely successful. And stories, when you're on Facebook or Instagram, it kind of shows up at the top of your feed. So it's separate from a profile and feed, but it's an ongoing thing that just it's another way to really get some more traction or some eyeballs on your business. And a lot of companies do use it very effectively. You can post them kind of throughout the day. The content doesn't really stay around on your profile forever. It's really 24 hours, and it just gives you, it's content, a lot of the like homemade content, real-time videos are really great for there. It shows that you're authentic, and it can just really help you kind of get some additional messages out there that might not really be right for your newsfeed or for your Instagram profile, but stories are just, it's kind of a little bit of a place where you can be a little bit more lenient with your content.
Great explanation.
Okay, and then we have another question. Do you have a template for designing a social marketing strategy?
Yes. Yes, we do. At the very basic level, we could probably follow up with something, but at a very basic level, it really starts with your goals, your objectives, your target audience, and then kind of outlining what platforms you're going to be on and what is the strategy or tactic for each one, and just what are the benchmarks. Whole look at your audience. It kind of flows through so that you always have that. It's a blueprint that you can refer back to later on. What types of messages do you have? What will be effective for you?
That can't really be overstated either, because sometimes a business is just set up for a particular type of customers. So earlier we talked about the auto dealership. So auto dealerships, like many other types of businesses, have people sitting there waiting for new customers. So messenger ads work very, very well for them because they can really capitalize. But the painting company, who it's one painter and two other painters, right? And they're always painting. That's probably not a good person for a messenger ad, because they're going to get a bunch of messages and they're not going to respond because they're up painting. So we have to be very, very careful of like, what happens when this actually works? And it will work, and we've made that mistake before. So it's very, very important, getting back to the blueprint, to really talk about, all right, here's what we're trying to achieve, right? Here's the objective. Here's the strategies to achieve that. And then the execution tactics. And then what happens when you actually get that customer, when you actually get success? What's that going to look like for you? What's the best way for that to be delivered to you? It's pretty intricate, but that's an awesome question. And we can definitely provide that.
I would think that one of the things with startups is social can be important input for their market research to figure out who their target audience is, right?
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
for some of the people on the call might not actually know who their target audience is, it occurs to me. So
yeah. Or you think I mean,
right.
One thing we figured out, with a lot of clients, is that they say our target audience is anybody with this or anybody who does this. And then when we put it to public opinion, or when we throw an ad out there and we say, hey, Facebook, target whoever you think you should target whoever engages at the highest level with this particular ad. Facebook's data gives us something completely different. The age range is completely off, or we learn something where we go, oh, look, of course they want that because they also do this, right? So yeah, it's very, very interesting. And it's a mindset thing, right? So we always coach people at the beginning, like, don't go into this expecting that you're going to get immediate return on investment. You will shoot yourself in the foot. You may get immediate return on investment, but the first 3 to 6 months, that is not why you're there. You're there to do exactly what you're talking about. Learn what works, establish the relationship, really understand what your metrics are. Very, very valuable input, or very, very valuable insight that you get about your market. Yeah.
Great. Any other
And
last minute questions before Brad and Kate leave us? I know they said they have unlimited time, but
not unlimited, but like a lot. We planned to go a little over.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Tim Pip is still on this call, but Tim has something pretty cool coming up here that I have had the opportunity to kind of learn about. Tim, do we have a link to your, so Tim, why don't you kind of give everybody a quick rundown of what you shared with me the other day as far as your business goes and what you're up for?
I actually do have a link now. I got it at noon. So the reason I was not on video, I was listening the entire time, I promise, but I had 3 calls come in during, so I just figured I would. So a couple months ago, I entered my company in a contest through Inc. magazine. It's sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. Small Business, Big Impact was the name of the contest, and it was how you pivoted through COVID. My company reconfigured the way we did business and we started selling face masks. We actually were manufacturing them in-house on our embroidery equipment. So, as things were shutting down, we put up a website and started selling these masks for cost. And we're selling them to hospitals, and the prison in town actually bought a lot. And so I entered us in this contest through Ink Magazine, and we were chosen as a finalist. So one of 4 in the country, and they just launched it at noon today for voting. I will put the link actually in the chat there. And there's a video of me. You'll see me in there. And basically, if we get the most votes by the 23rd, we will win a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. And so the other 3 contestants are from Detroit, I think New Orleans, and North Carolina. So, or South Carolina, something like that. But I actually have not even watched my full video because the meeting started right away. So, but you can vote every day until the 23rd and help us out, I guess.
We're going to do everything we can to help you get that, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get on
great
and
job.
vote for Bees Teas, one of our own. Don't let that Detroit company get it. Come on.
Yeah,
We all got to vote.
I looked a little bit on their stuff, and I kind of feel bad because they're, I think 2 of them work with youth, and I was just making measly masks, but I still want to win.
Hey, there's no empathy for the competitor. Stop that.
No, I know.
And also, I think masks are a big deal. Like that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask, right? But I think that masks are important. So good for
Yeah.
you. And
Thank
what you guys have going on there is just awesome. It's so cool.
And actually,
a local company.
the phone call I got right away that I turned my video off is Dan Feltus, who's running for governor.
Yeah.
They called to see if they could do a tour of our warehouse on Thursday. So,
Oh,
Ooh.
awesome.
But Lauren makes a good point, Tim. It wasn't just the masks. You also made T-shirts with people's brand on them and donated that back to the business. I mean, you so underplay what you do. It's funny.
Yeah, you guys are doing awesome.
thanks.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Glad to know you, Tim.
Be gracious once you've won.
I just want to win. They can keep the van. I'll be honest. They can keep the van. I just want to win. I just want to say I won. That's all I want.
Oh,
Well, we're
good.
going to help you get there.
Thank you.
It's great.
And I'm gonna send you guys an email anyway because I know both you and Heather asked for the link, so I'll send you everything. when we're done.
Yes, we're waiting for it.
All right.
Eagerly. Good. Great. Okay. Any other last questions, comments, concerns? Are you a little bit less scared about social now? We hope. Or maybe you're more scared and you're just going to ask Brad and Kate for help. I don't know. One or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I
Could
can't
go either way.
We're totally happy to help out. Even if you just kind of want to ask a couple of questions or say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing on social media. Can you guys just look at it and see? We can schedule a one-to-one with anybody and chat about that. So no pressure from
Awesome.
us. We love the city. We love the local businesses. So anything we can do to help.
Great. You guys are the best. That was an awesome presentation. I learned a ton myself.
Thank you.
We will send a follow-up that will have, obviously, you guys probably already have Brad and Kate's information from this screen, but we'll include that as well as some other links to resources. And welcome all of your feedback on this type of content because we know marketing is top of mind. So it's, do you want to see more of these types of presentations is our chamber's question. So definitely let us know. And I think that's probably it. Yeah?
Cool.
Good.
Very, very nice seeing everybody and meeting everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Off to lunch. And have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
And Kate.
Good seeing
Thank
everybody.
you.
Good luck, Tim.
Bye.
Stop sharing my screen here. There we go. All right. Hey, Sam, thanks for coming, bud.
Yeah, thanks.
Happy to be here.
Good to see you, my man.
Yeah, it was good to listen.
Yeah, I see Sean walking around in the background over there. Tell Dave I really appreciate that softie there. That was good.
I'll let him know.